I'm Councillor Paul Cummins, Cabinet Member and sponsor of Sefton Coast.
Now today we're here to find out about the National Trust making a bid for taking over Formby Point, is that correct?
Well, we're looking over the next few months to transfer our reserve at Lifeboat Road to the National Trust to make a unified Formby Point National Trust Reserve.
How easy do you think that will be, and what do you think the benefits will be, particularly as we've lost European funding?
Well, we think there'll be huge benefits. Obviously, maintaining the site at the moment has become increasingly difficult because of budget cuts, really severe budget cuts. So getting the National Trust in to come and invest in the site is going to be really helpful. The benefits will be improved nature conservation, improved visitors facilities, and we hope benefits for local residents and local businesses.
How long would the takeover be for?
Well, we are looking to hand over the land in perpetuity, so it will preserve the nature reserve for many generations to come.
Is there any way that people can actually have their say in what's going on? Is there any polls or any petitions or anything going on?
Well, I don't know about any petitions against it. We are starting the process this morning. We've made it public that our intention is to transfer the land, and now we're starting our discussions with local people. And the National Trust will be discussing with them how local people think that matters can be improved down here for local residents and for visitors alike. So no, this is a start of a process.
Is there anything that you think the council would be able to actually keep a hand in control of?
Well, we will be working with the National Trust in partnership around the whole of the coast, but the land will actually be owned by the National Trust.
Is that right the way through to whereabouts is that from?
It's the whole of the Lifeboat Road reserve matched up with the National Trust reserve. I can't give you the exact boundary, but it's the whole of that area. Obviously, Sefton Council still owns a considerable amount of land along the coast, and we are still a key landowner and stakeholder in what happens on our coast.
With regards to the actual area itself, is there anything that's going to change management-wise with the staff that are currently used on site?
Well, I think there will actually be more staff coming to the site than we in Sefton have at the moment. Our coast and countryside service has been reduced drastically over the past 7 years while we've been enduring these ongoing cuts, and will be threatened even more over the next 3 years while we experience a loss of £64 million in revenue from our budget. So there will be more staff coming here to work on the coast, to conserve nature, to improve facilities.
Will it also stop land development?
Absolutely. This is about nature conservation and preservation, and in many respects for local people will give them an assurance about development for the future, that adverse development won't happen. It'll be about improving this for heritage and nature conservation purposes.
Who would take over the responsibility for sea defences should that become necessary?
That's quite a good question. Well, I think the National Trust will have responsibility for sea defences on their land, but again, the whole coastal strategy involves numerous landowners and Sefton Council, and I think protection against the sea as a responsibility of national government as well. So it's a whole host of people who have a stake in that sort of issue.
Well, thank you for your time. Good luck with the negotiations, and we look forward to seeing what the outcome is.
Thank you very much.
So I'm Rebecca Burton. I'm the Assistant Director in the North of England for the National Trust.
Now, the National Trust is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year of taking over the Freshfield side of Formby Point.
Yeah, so we've owned Formby Point at Freshfield, yes, for 50 years. So this is a really exciting moment to be in conversation with Sefton about reuniting the whole of Formby Point through this land transfer.
Now, with growing cutbacks, lots of European funding, and the strain on local councils, this is a vital piece of protection, isn't it, for the coastline?
Yeah, I mean, what the National Trust is in a position to do is take on that kind of long-term commitment to protecting this coastline, to high kind of conservation management, and also to looking at how we improve the visitor experience and kind of really give people a great time when they come to visit Formby Point.
Is there anything that you can think of that's going to be a bit hard for National Trust, because it's such a big area, and I know the National Trust, like the councils, is also funding wise very tight at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, the National Trust is a charity, and what we're all about and what we were set up to do 125 years ago now is to make sure that places which are of amazing kind of natural beauty and important for nature, cultural heritage and important for people are protected and looked after well. And of course we're supported through our membership. So if you remember, thank you so much for your support. We're supported through our membership, but actually we are in a position, because of our membership base particularly, to invest at Formby and to ensure that kind of long-term care and protection of this coastline.
How long would this be managed for? Is there a set time period, or is it just as and when?
Yeah, well, I mean, what we're talking about is a freehold transfer of the land to the National Trust here. So what that means is that the National Trust commitment is in effect for perpetuity. So we're looking at kind of a long-term commitment to owning and managing this land. And in fact, what the Trust can do, which no other organisation can do, is where we think that things are of real conservation importance, through a particular Act of Parliament that applies only to the National Trust, we can declare this land inalienable. And what that would mean is that we would never sell it, and nor can it be compulsory purchased without a special Act of Parliament. So we're really in a unique position as a National Trust to, guarantee and ensure the future protection and care of this amazing coastline.
With coastal defences and your area at the moment being so battered by the storms recently, whose responsibility do you think it would be to actually protect the coastline from erosion?
Well, it's a really interesting, quite difficult question, isn't it? I mean, all the advice that we get is at Formby Point, the best protection, coastal protection, is to have a really healthy moving dune system, and that's what we're really interested in investing in and protecting at Formby.
Would you actually take over responsibility for just the dune and the area around it, or would it be right across onto the actual shoreline?
Well, I mean, we've got maps which I think we shared with you which show the kind of extent of the ownership, and we would be responsible for kind of all the land within that ownership.
Are there any areas at the moment that you think would be of huge importance for the National Trust to concentrate on developing and helping out with?
Yeah, I mean, our immediate focus, of course, because this would be quite a significant land transfer, would be around Formby Point, our current ownership and the new ownership, and how we really invest and put the right mechanisms in place to kind of manage and protect that area of the coastline. But for many years we've been a really active partner in the Sefton Coastal Partnership, and we're absolutely committed to continue to working in partnership along the coastline with other partners such as Natural England, Sefton Council of course, RSPB further up the coast.
Are you going to be working with English Nature a lot more?
Well, we're already very active partners, and of course we're committed to kind of continuing that conversation and that partnership. So yes, we are absolutely committed to working with Natural England and other owners and who own land along the Sefton coastline.
Are you making any alterations for locals when they come to parking? Because quite often that's a massive issue as well for local dog walkers.
Yeah, I mean, we're hugely aware of how busy Formby gets, you know, on any sunny weekend, not least, of course, because it's our teams who are managing the front end of that. And we know that's of huge concern to local residents. I mean, I think what this transfer really gives us is an opportunity to look kind of more holistically about how we might better manage that number of people who come, you know, on those lovely sunny weekends.
Lastly, good luck. And hope the transfer goes extremely well. And are you planning any celebrations for the 50th at the moment on your normal site?
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, we're hugely excited about this opportunity, and we think it's a really important moment for Sefton and Formby Point. Yeah, we are really looking now at how we work with local communities, both to involve them in shaping our plans for Formby Point, but also how we celebrate, one, this amazing coastline as part of Sefton's Year of the Coast, but also the Trust's 50th year at Formby. So check out our website and keep an eye out for what's going on, and we'd love you to help us kind of shape our future plans.
And for anybody who doesn't know, what's the website?
Oh, if you search on National Trust at Formby, you'll find it very easily.
Are you local?
Yes, I am. I live here in Formby.
What do you reckon to the idea of the National Trust taking over Formby Point?
Don't have too much of a view of it, although I would suggest that they would need to retain and maintain the current facilities that exist and possibly even improve them. I do know that there are a lot of people that come down to the beach desperate for some sort of toilet amenities, if you like, that don't exist here, but they do up at the other end, and wonder whether or not that could be approached. Other than that, I don't think I have too much of an issue with whoever runs the area.
Do you think it would actually increase the amount of footfall on the beach?
I doubt it. I doubt it. I do know that people cut short their visit to the beach because they are unable to have use of a toilet, but other than that I don't think it would change the footfall tremendously.
Do you think of the idea of Formby Point being taken over by National Trust?
Good idea. I think it's also a really good job down the road there, so I think it's fine to get this here as well. Absolutely amazing. National Trust anyway, so the fact that it's the councils is quite surprising really, but yeah, it's a good idea.
Do you think it would be of benefit then?
Yeah, I think it would be, yeah. If they look after the same way as look after down the road where the squirrels are, yeah, be good, yeah.
Now, you walk the dog regularly at Formby Point, do you?
No, we usually go more on the beach at Southport, but we've had a day out today.
So, what do you think of the idea of National Trust taking over rather than Sefton Council?
Well, whether they'll give it more protection than the council, I don't know. From the number of times I've been here, I've always been happy with the care that the council are taking of it. And on a personal level, I don't really have a lot to do with the National Trust because of bad experiences we've had in the past with them.
And so, you don't think it's a good idea?
Yes and no. I mean, I'd need to know more. All I know at the moment is an advert I saw in the paper this morning, showing a rough map of the area that they were going to take over. What they can do extra to what the council have done, I don't know.
Where are you from, if you don't mind me asking?
St Helens.
And do you use Formby Point regularly?
Yes, we do. We've got a caravan at Formby Point.
What do you think of the news that National Trust might be taking over the area? Do you think it's a good idea or a bad idea?
It could be a good idea.
Why do you say that?
Because they might provide some more services to that car park down there, which haven't done at the moment.
What do you think of the idea of them actually taking over responsibility for the beach as well?
Well, I think that might be a good idea, mightn't it? Hopefully they'll get more clean-up parties coming and helping clean up.
Because at the moment the National Trust have got bins on the beach, but they don't go down to the other end of the car park, where the other car park is, do they?
They go as far as the council do this area, don't they?
Yeah.
So, have you got any reservations of it?
Reservations might be money that's allocated to the National Trust tends to go nationally, it's not always spent locally. So any revenue they generate from this area
Might get spent somewhere
might
else.
get spent somewhere else. Yes, that's perhaps reservations that I have.
Did you know that National Trust is looking at taking over this area?
Not this end, no, I didn't.
What do you think of the idea that Sefton Council might be handing it over to National Trust?
Excellent. If they look after this end as good as the part, excellent.
Do you have any views that are negative as well?
No, not really, because I'm a member of the National Trust, so yeah.
So you think it's all a great idea?
Not all great. There's never any ideas that come from the council are all great, but I'd look favourable on it.
With the strain on the council for funding and the amount of cutbacks needed, do you think that it would be viable for the council to continue if they don't make a deal with the National Trust?
Well, as long as it's not to the detriment of the place.
Make a fortune out of that car park in the summer.